End of another week, and the last couple of weeks have been absolutely crazy, historic things going on. And if you didn't think the human race was seriously messed up, well, the last couple of weeks would most likely have convinced you otherwise. So I started the week with a link from my brother talking about a website that was selling a shirt with a swastika on it. That's all it had. Lo and behold, that was Kanye. So Kanye, you are an asshole of historic proportions. I don't even understand how someone can be as sick as you. First of all, he's a black man, and he's supporting Hitler. What's happened to the world? This is like gays supporting Hamas. It's unbelievable. You guys, are you suicidal? Or you have no knowledge of history? You're that dumb. So the next thing that happened with relation to that is a video came out showing Jewish celebrities from Hollywood and other places, and they're giving Kanye the finger. It turns out it was made by AI. So what do these Jewish celebrities do? They don't stand up and say, well, it was made by AI, but we stand behind that and we give the big finger, the big middle finger to Kanye. No, they start protesting that it wasn't made with their consent. So come on, Jewish celebrities, it's time to stand up and grow some balls, like get some spine. You can stand up, and your people are being targeted and hounded all around the world with lies and violence, and you can at least stand up and say something. It doesn't take that much. You're not going to lose anything, and you're already multi-gazillionaires. So this is really pathetic. Weakness is repulsive. Your weakness is repulsive. So we saw Trump come out with this crazy plan that he's going to take over Gaza. The US is going to take over Gaza. They're just going to have it, right? And the Palestinians are going to find some other place to live, and it's going to be the end of Hamas. Well, in fact, you know what? I say to the people of Gaza, well, you kind of deserve it. You know what? Seriously, you've been offered a state so many times. You never had a state here. The Palestinian Arabs never had a state here. They were part of the Ottoman Empire in general, as all people were, just a big stretch of land. They never had any sovereignty here. In fact, they arrived with the Arab conquerors in the 7th century, so they're effectively the descendants of conquerors. They just teach each other that they're native, and the Jews somehow are like colonizers in Judea, in the land of Judea, where every piece of architecture, every area is something mentioned in the Bible, and they claim that it's their native ancestry. It's all a bunch of lies. But you Palestinians have been offered a state multiple times. You could have had a state. You don't want a state. Your entire reason for being is to mobilize so that the Jews can't have a state, because your entire education system, your philosophy is just one of violence. And you know what? You pushed it too far. October 7th. You just lost it. You deserve to be kicked the hell out. You don't deserve a beautiful piece of land on the eastern Mediterranean with the weather and the views and the warm waters. You don't deserve anything of that. You voted in Hamas. The Palestinians voted in Hamas after they had already committed suicide bombings across Israel for about a year, killing 1,000 Israelis, bombings in pizza bars, bombings in nightclubs, on buses, and they still voted them in. So you know what? You get what you sow. I want peace with the Palestinians, no doubt about it. Most Israelis do, but you've messed this up a lot of times, and now you've just gone one step too far. So I don't know that Trump will actually do it, and it's really problematic now because tomorrow there's a deadline. By noon, Hamas is supposed to release all the hostages. Otherwise, all hell's going to break loose. Apparently. No one really knows what that means. I'm not sure that was particularly wise, because Hamas doesn't really care about the hostages, and they don't want to release the other hostages now either, because they're probably in awful condition, like the last 3 men that we saw released. So Hamas wants a way out. And this might be a way for them to get out of having to do that and face world scrutiny. But to be honest, this whole thing of trying to appease the Palestinians under the current leadership, right? I can't speak for the average Palestinian on the street. It looks like most do support Hamas. This is what comes out in the polls and what you see online, and the mobs in the street and all the rest of it. I don't know how they really feel. They're so brutalized by their own leadership. But the Palestinian Authority are still paying people to kill Israelis, what they call the pay for slay program. They don't deserve jack shit, to be honest. They'll be kicked out. Start again. When you learn to live decently and you can share the land like humans all around the world do, in Europe, in Asia, in South America, people who live next door to each other, and just build your nation, build an economy. But no, the way it is now, but who knows? It's a problem for Israel. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Australia. And you got a lot of problems right there. Those two nurses who were revealed online saying that they would kill Israelis if they were admitted into their hospital. They wouldn't save them, they would kill them. So far, they've been stripped of their licenses. The guy is an Afghan refugee, so he should be kicked the hell out and get the hell back to Afghanistan. What are you doing in a country like Australia? How could anyone put up with someone like that? And that woman, they should be charged to the fullest extent of the law, and it should be made very public to what happens to them. There needs to be a message sent to anyone who might think that it's that's something that they might want to try as well. Get the hell out. You're out. But they should both be charged severely. Yeah, in Munich, we had a car ramming attack. The guy calling out Allah, Allah, or something like that. Now, there's a problem. Europe's got big problems, and I think you know that. No one can know that. Anyone who pretends that there's not some kind of invasion by Islamic fundamentalism going on is just being willfully blind. And in London, we had a member of the Turkish embassy, an employee of the Turkish embassy, who was attacking a guy in the street. He was attacking him with a knife because the guy was burning a Quran. The guy was an ex-Muslim who was protesting the murder recently of a guy by the name of Salwan Momika, who had himself burned a Quran in protest against the onslaught of Islamic fundamentalism that's moving through the world. And so he was murdered. So this guy in London was protesting against that by himself burning a Quran. Now, I don't think it's wise to burn a Quran or a Bible. I wouldn't burn someone's holy books, but it should not be punished by death. That is barbarian culture. That is savagery. And the punishment must fit the crime. So if you've got people who have so little regard for human life that when a book is burned, they take away someone's father, someone's son, someone's husband or boyfriend or brother, that is absolutely disgusting. It is barbaric and savage, and anyone who is found to be celebrating that, to be promoting that, should be kicked the hell out of the country or just put in jail. And I hope that this employee of the Turkish embassy is punished to the fullest extent of the law, to be made an example of. Okay, USAID, what a scandal. And people are up in arms about, Elon Musk, and particularly like Democrats, more left-wing people. They're blaming Elon Musk. They're accusing him of everything. You all got caught, and you've been caught funding Hamas, a huge cement factory in Gaza that was gifted by USAID. Hamas used that to build their tunnels. And then USAID was buying cement back from Hamas, so they were supplying them with cash as well. The corruption in the Democrats is so deep that it's actually mind-boggling. UNRWA, so America has defunded UNRWA completely, how any country can continue to fund UNRWA after all the evidence that's emerged of Hamas headquarters under their headquarters, under UNRWA headquarters. UNRWA members who were part of the October 7th massacre. We had UNRWA members, thousands of them, celebrating the October 7th massacre. The material that is taught at UNRWA schools is pure brainwashing and incitement to hatred. If you've ever seen these young Palestinian kids, they don't stand a chance. They are brainwashed from a very young age with absolute hatred. It is quite sickening. So any country that continues to fund UNRWA, you're just complicit. I don't even understand how you can be so evil. The United Nations Security Council, well, the US has pulled out of that, and it's about time too, because they are absolutely rotten. It is all just dictatorships and theocracies, and they serve no purpose. What the UN was intended to be at its inception, it's not anymore. It's just corrupt, and it's effectively a tool of the jihadists. And what we've got going on is a war of light against dark, or actually, to be honest, it's more about darkness against light. The war in Israel is just the front line of a larger war that we're seeing play out all around the world. You've got people who have no qualms about killing innocents. We've got terrorist attacks happening all around the world. We've got random stabbings of innocent people, of young girls. It's the most astounding thing we've ever seen. And you've still got apologists who are making excuses. Now, I need to hear from the moderate Muslims out there. You ought to be up screaming from the rooftops. These two Australian nurses, where are you standing up and saying, that's not our philosophy. We don't agree with that. That's wrong. You're out. If any Jewish person or any Christian person said something like that, they would be expelled from the community. We would never talk to them again. They'd be out. They'd go to jail, and they would not have a pleasant time in jail. We need you. We need to hear you standing up. And in Australia, We need to hear the average Australian out there standing up as well and saying, that's not okay in Australia. We don't accept that. We've got a peaceful, beautiful country. You want to come here and spread hate, you're out of here, or you're going to jail. And stand up for your Jewish colleagues and friends as well, or just for the Jewish community as well. When George Floyd was killed, there were black squares in Instagram profiles all around the world. Where's your square for the Jewish people that are being hounded all over the place? What, because there's a war in Gaza? You've got to stand up. You've got to say this is unacceptable. And the weakness of that government, the Australian government, the German government, the British government, this weakness is repulsive. And Trump is standing up to that, and Trump's entire team. They're made of strong-willed people. These are fighters. Pete Hegseth is a fighter. Tulsi Gabbard is a fighter. These people are strong, and they're not going to take that kind of crap. Are you seeing what's going on? Do you understand the threat that the West is actually facing right now? I don't think you do. This war in Gaza, it doesn't make sense unless you see it in its broader context. Hamas doesn't care about the Palestinians. They're happy to sacrifice Gaza. In fact, they intended from the outset to sacrifice Gaza, to show carnage to the cameras, to turn world opinion against Israel so that they could have an advantage and eventually destroy Israel. Why do they want to destroy Israel? Not because they want to establish a friendly state and have some kind of productivity. Any land that they have, they will turn into a terror state where they will just breed more and more terrorism. It'll be a launch pad to the rest of the world. They will join forces with the other jihadist groups in the region. Israel is holding them back. You can see the Jewish culture all around you. If you go through a Jewish neighborhood, I guarantee you're not going to be hurt in a Jewish neighborhood. No one gets mugged in a Jewish neighborhood. These are peaceful people. The Jewish rallies that you've seen, they hold up a flag, they might have a few candles, they sing a few songs. There's none of this screaming in the streets. There's no calling for vengeance. There's no calling for violence. There's no spray painting or graffiti. There's no damaging monuments. There's no aggression. It's just peaceful, because the Jewish culture is a peaceful culture. When push comes to shove, the Jewish people can fight, and we've seen that they can be some of the best soldiers in the world. But it's a peaceful culture. But what you've imported is not a peaceful culture. And again, I'm not saying this is about all Muslims. I'm saying this is about the Muslims who are promoting this fanatical, fundamentalist, violent ideology that is not how the Western world was built, but it is how the Western world will fall if you all don't grow some spine and stand up, grow a backbone, stand up against it. We're seeing so much weakness, and you're turning a blind eye, and you're picking on Israel, you're picking on the Jews, you're ignoring the Jews because you're embracing these barbarians. Come on now, stand up. Come on, get some guts about you. What happened? What happened to the strength of the West? What happened to the Aussie digger? I grew up in Australia. I served in the Australian military. I know that Australians can be fighters. They were some of the best fighters in the Anzac Corps in World War I, World War II. Tough, hard, amazing teamwork, dedicated to the task, and no one could get past them. What's going on? Where's all of that? What happened to the Europeans? They all became so soft. Well, it's time to stand up. It's time to stand out up and protect your civilization. Israel's going to do it with or without you. And the Jews in all the countries around the world, they've got a place to go. They'll come to Israel if things get too bad in those countries. But where are the rest of you going to go? Where are you going to move? Where are Europeans going to go? To another European country? It's all the same. Where are the Australians going to go? To Europe? Trump is saving America. If what Trump is doing by deporting all these illegals, people with massive criminal records that include sexual violence against children, and people in democratic cities want to give them sanctuary? What the hell is wrong with you? When did you all become so, what is the word? I don't even know what the word is. It's perverse. So, my message, stand strong. Find your backbone. It's okay to stand strong and say enough is enough. We don't accept that. You don't have to do anything yourself. You don't have to be violent or aggressive. I'm not encouraging that at all. But vote for the people who will have the backbone to employ the police force, to employ your private investigators and the military, and to clean these fundamentalists out. You don't have very long. Like another few years of this, they get more deeply entrenched, then you may not have a way out. And Israel's going to be okay. That's my prediction. Israel is going to be okay because we get it. We get it. We've been telling you for years. It's not about colonialism. It's not colonialism. The Jews have been in this land for thousands of years. My family's been in this land for thousands of years. They accuse Israel of everything that they're doing. They talk about apartheid. There's not a single Jew in Gaza. If a Jew stepped into Gaza, well, not now, but before the war, if a Jew stepped into Gaza, he'd be killed. If a Jew stepped into a Palestinian territory in Judea and Samaria, the West Bank, they'd be killed. That is apartheid. And yet they accuse Israel of apartheid. They accuse Israel of ethnic cleansing. That is ethnic cleansing. Christian communities all around the Middle East have been ethnically cleansed for decades. And they accuse Israel of it. This is what Goebbels from the Nazis used to. He said, accuse your enemy of what you intend to do or what you are doing. That's how you bamboozle them, right? Colonialism, accusing Israel of colonialism. They're colonialists. They're Arabs. Arabs are from Arabia. Arabia's a long way from here. They're part of the Arabian conquests. So you got to see through all that deception. You got to see things as they are. There is overwhelming evidence. You got to stand firm. You got to find your inner strength and protect your society, because, the saddest phrase in the human experience is you don't know what it's got, or you don't know what you've got till it's gone. And I hope you never have to reflect on that for real. So with that message, I wish everyone the best. I wish you all a peaceful weekend. We're praying for the hostages, that they'll be released tomorrow, that we won't have to deal with all hell breaking loose. And with that, I'll wish you all Shabbat Shalom.